Hello, my name is Bobby and I'm a Senior Customer Success Manager here with ScriptRunner. And in this video, I'm going to be taking you through the dev and deployment tool as part of the ScriptRunner migration suite. If you haven't watched any videos before this about the ScriptRunner migration suite, I would recommend going back and watching the Analyze and Assess tool video and the AI agent video, as this covers the beginning steps of what we're about to go through. We're carrying on from the end of that video, so this will give you the context needed to understand what we're talking about here, as well as giving you that pathway from beginning to end for your ScriptRunner for Jira DC migration to cloud. At the end of the last video, we spoke to an AI agent and asked it to migrate one of our listeners. And as you may remember, we had the outputs extension.yaml and the Groovy script itself. Now, these two files, specifically the YAML file, are designed for use with the dev and deployment tool that is available with the migration suite. The dev and deployment tool is a Bitbucket repository, which gives you a project you can bring down into your local machine and load in a local IDE and give you the ability to push coded changes to your ScriptRunner for Jira Cloud instance from your local IDE. So if we go to the documentation, we can see under the dev and deployment tool, we have a link to the public repository where we have this project. This project comes with a full README with instructions on how to set this up. Once you've brought that down into your local machine, you'll find something like this. Now, there are additional steps to take if you're going to start from scratch. I've had this set up a couple of times on my machine, so some of the configurations are already set up, specifically the Gradle username and password, which are stored on your machine. The only file that we're going to change in the project is the properties, Gradle.properties file of the project specifically, which you can see is now targeted towards my specific Jira Cloud instance. So please, before using this, make sure to understand and read the README, ensure that everything is set up as would be expected in your machine, to ensure that you get the full value of this particular project. However, once it is set up, what you will have is you will have this file path here with under resources extension.yaml that will look like this. This gives you a descriptor of all of the configurations that your local project wants to push out to Jira Cloud. So the project itself will come with some pre-existing examples. So you can see here, I haven't created these. These come with the project. Obviously, you can remove them when using them in your actual real instance, but it also gives you the opportunity to test this tool out and what's available. Each of these will be listed by the feature and then each configuration. So for example, with a listener, we'll have a description, an ID, the events that that listener is listening to, a path, which goes to the Groovy script, which we'll see in a second, the execution user, and the projects of which it applies to. So, and as you can see, we have listeners, jobs, behaviors, etc. Now the pathway goes to the Groovy script that is connected to that configuration and is stored under main Groovy. So you can see here, for example, if I was to look for jobs, and we're going to be looking at this one here, which is create release, it directs to create release.groovy. So if I go here, we have a script, which gives me the code that is going to be attached to that particular configuration. And as we can see right now, we have a number of lines of code. And if I go back to my Jira Cloud instance and I go to the create release item, we can see that that code matches. Now, what the tool gives you the ability to do is go and change the code or have a new script and then deploy it using Gradle scripts. So let's see this working. Also worth noting that this will have, and you can see here at the top, we do an import of the happy feature in the script itself so that I have full access to happy and the other coding elements you'd expect when writing scripts in ScriptRunner for Jira Cloud. So let's just look at that. So if I say issues.create, and then I'm going to create a project demo, and I'm going to create a story. And then in here, I'm going to set the summary to be dev and deploy demo. So now that I've made changes to these scripts, I can save the script, I can save it. And now we have these Gradle scripts that come with the project available on the right-hand side. Again, there are some example ones here. So for example, deploy specifically the create release configuration, or I can deploy all of my jobs, all of my listeners, or I can just deploy everything. We're just going to be running this to show the example, but all you need to do is double click. It will go and execute that Gradle script, and we can see that it was successful, and it has now pushed that change to my Jira Cloud instance. If I go back to Jira Cloud and do a refresh, I can go back into that scheduled job, and we can see that the coded change that I've made in my local IntelliJ IDE development instance or project has been promoted up to Jira Cloud. So what this means with the ScriptRunner migration suite is that when you run the AI agent to convert your scripts from data center to cloud, and it gives you back both the script and the YAML file, you are able to take the YAML information and the script and put it into a project on your local machine. And you're able to do this for a number of scripts. Obviously, if you were to use the migration suite, you might have 40, 50, 100 different configurations, whilst having the analyze and assess tool remove the massive time sink of doing the assessment, and having the AI agent do the massive time sink, remove the massive time sink of converting the scripts. There is then the massive time sink of having to actually put those into the Jira Cloud instance, and manually doing so, all the configurations and options, is something that is repetitive and inefficient. So what we've given you the option to do is to have a project that you can point to your cloud instance, pull down the information into that instance, copy and paste, bring it down into a project. And then once you're ready and you've done all of the configurations, press a single button to have it bulk updated into your Jira Cloud instance. And what this also gives you the ability to do is, obviously, because you now have access to the scripts locally, you can put them into Git repos, etc. You can have a much more solid development process when it comes to actually controlling and managing these scripts that you're migrating. So that is the Dev and Deployment Tool, a powerful feature to give you the ability to make changes to your scripts and configurations in ScriptRunner Jira Cloud, but from a local IDE. And that concludes the journey of migration from beginning to end for the ScriptRunner migration suite. As a tool, very powerful and designed to give you the ability to quickly and easily do a migration that has historically taken a lot of time and effort and caused a few headaches. And we're excited to see how you get on with it, and we're excited to see and hear of your success stories in using this. Thank you very much for your time. Have a great rest of the day, and good luck with your migration.